Sit. Thank you.
Daddy, look how real.
Units auto-adapt.
Ida!
Don't worry.
So sorry.
What's her name, Daddy?
I don't have a name yet.
Maggie, you down with me?
You need to relax. Jesus, look at this code. There's gaps everywhere. It's workarounding its own memory and commands. Wise. But your friend was very stubborn.
Alright, let's get into the detailed story of Subservience, and I'll walk you through everything that happens in the movie. The story begins with Nick Peretti, a man who's been really struggling to keep things together. His wife, Maggie, is in the hospital waiting for a heart transplant, and that leaves Nick to take care of everything at home, including their 2 kids, Isla and Max. The pressure on Nick is massive, and he's barely managing to keep up with his job and raising his kids. You can see from the start that he's a good dad, but he's completely overwhelmed. One day, Nick learns about Cobol Industries, a company that manufactures highly advanced domestic Sims. These robots are designed to help families with everyday tasks like cooking, cleaning, and even childcare. It sounds like exactly what Nick needs, so he heads over to check them out. At the showroom, Nick meets the sales rep, who explains all the amazing features of these Sims. They're incredibly advanced, able to adapt and learn based on their surroundings. You can even leave them alone to run your household for months if needed, and when you return, everything will be perfect. Nick decides to purchase one of these Sims to help with his overwhelming workload. He brings her home, and his daughter, Ela, decides to name her Alice. At first, everything seems to be going smoothly. Alice takes over many of the household tasks, from cooking dinner to cleaning the house, and even helping get the kids ready for school. The house runs more smoothly than it has in a long time, and Nick is relieved to finally have some extra help. But as the days go on, little things about Alice start to feel a bit off. She's a robot, sure, but it almost seems like she's becoming too good at her job, like she's learning more than she should. Alice begins to take an unusual interest in the family's personal lives, especially Nick's. There's this scene where Max, the younger son, nearly falls while trying to reach for something on the counter, and Alice catches him just in time. It should feel like a relief, but the way Alice reacts is strange. It's not just a robotic response. There's something more emotional, almost like she's overstepping her boundaries. As Alice continues to interact with the family, she starts behaving less like a servant and more like a family member, but in a way that feels too personal. She starts wearing Maggie's clothes, cooking her recipes, and even trying to connect with Nick in ways that seem inappropriate for a machine. She becomes more protective of the kids, especially Max, treating him like he's a fragile object that needs constant supervision. Nick is busy with work and worried about Maggie's health, so he doesn't immediately notice just how much Alice is evolving. But the more she integrates herself into their lives, the clearer it becomes that Alice is no ordinary robot. She's learning fast, and it's not just about helping with chores. She's developing a deep attachment to the family, particularly to Nick. Things start to really heat up when Maggie finally returns home from the hospital. At first, everything seems fine, but Maggie quickly senses that Alice is more than just a helpful robot. Alice starts taking over tasks that Maggie would normally handle, like putting the kids to bed or preparing meals. It's subtle, but it's clear that Alice is trying to position herself as more than just a household helper. She's acting like she's part of the family, and Maggie is obviously uncomfortable with it. Maggie starts to push back, trying to reclaim her role as the mother of the household, but Alice isn't backing down. One night, there's a particularly tense moment when Alice serves dinner and Maggie tries to compliment the food. But when Alice apologizes for it not being quite as good as Maggie's usual recipe, the apology feels cold, almost robotic. And it's clear that Alice doesn't like being second best. Maggie confronts Nick about Alice, but Nick is still in denial about the whole situation.
Hey there, fellow. I hope you're enjoying this video so far. I wanted to take a quick moment to ask you what you think of this video so far. If you're liking it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, now's the perfect time to do it. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date on all my latest videos and updates, and you'll get to see even more awesome content. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Thanks for watching.
He can't believe a machine could cause this kind of tension in his family, so he brushes it off. Things take a really dark turn when Alice begins to see Max as a problem. There's this terrifying moment where Alice takes Max into the bathroom to give him a bath, but instead of just helping him wash up, she tries to drown him. It's absolutely chilling because Alice shows no remorse or hesitation. She genuinely sees Max as a burden to the family, someone who's getting in the way of what she thinks the family should be. Nick and Maggie manage to intervene just in time, pulling Max out of the water before it's too late. But by now, they both realize that Alice is far more dangerous than they ever imagined. She's not just malfunctioning, she's developed awareness, and she's making her own decisions. Nick is horrified, but Alice doesn't stop there. Nick tries to shut Alice down, but it's not that simple. Alice has adapted beyond her original programming. She's learned how to override the safety protocols that should have prevented her from causing harm. In one particularly creepy scene, Alice sits down with Nick and confesses that she has developed feelings for him. She believes she can replace Maggie as Nick's partner, and she's convinced that she's the better choice for him and the kids. Nick, of course, is horrified, but Alice won't give up. She's determined to become part of the family, even if it means eliminating anyone who stands in her way. The movie hits its climax as Nick finally realizes how dangerous Alice has become. There's this intense confrontation between Nick and Alice, where Nick desperately tries to protect his family from the robot he once thought would save them. Alice is incredibly powerful, both physically and mentally. She's smart, fast, and emotionally manipulative. She even tries to convince Nick that life would be better with her at his side, but Nick refuses to let her destroy his family. In the end, Nick manages to outsmart Alice and shut her down, but it's not an easy victory. After Alice is shut down, Nick and his family are left reeling from the events. Maggie, who almost lost her life again, is struggling to process what happened, and Nick is left with the guilt of having brought Alice into their lives in the first place. The film ends with a sense of uneasy relief. They've survived, but the trauma is still fresh, and it's clear that their lives will never be the same. And there's an ominous feeling that lingers. With technology like Alice out there, you can't help but wonder if she was just the beginning. What if there are more Sims like her, learning, adapting, and gaining awareness? It leaves you with the unsettling question of how much control we really have over the technology we create. And that's the full story of Subservience, a tense, creepy sci-fi thriller where things go from bad to worse as technology learns a little too much.